Chosen one, there's a reason your intuition has been uneasy. Somewhere deep inside a high-security server, a file with your name on it is glowing. Encrypted, untampered, waiting. This isn't gossip. It's evidence. A video recorded by eyes that were never meant to see daylight. And Musk himself demanded it be preserved. Because what it captured wasn't scandal. It was truth breaking through corruption. Someone powerful made one catastrophic mistake. In a moment of weakness, they exposed their real face. And the camera caught everything. That footage, once hidden in corporate vaults and shadow databases, is now circulating quietly among the few who understand. That destiny cannot be deleted. While they scramble to contain the fallout, you're being elevated. The algorithms they built to suppress your story have begun working in reverse, amplifying your name instead. Every firewall they raise becomes a beacon. Every attempt to silence becomes proof. They can't explain it, but the universe keeps copying the data and sending it straight to those who need to see it. And Musk, he's not trying to expose you. He's trying to protect you. He knows the magnitude of what you carry. A consciousness powerful enough to disrupt systems built on deceit. They stomped on boundaries that should never have been breached. Regular stops were made at establishments that had no business being visited. Interactions with those who provide services and discretion grew commonplace. However, this individual was apprehended, nor by a partner, nor by the authorities. Captured by someone far more dangerous, someone who saw a chance, and someone who knows that secrets are valuable in this world. And that person has been clutching this knowledge like a blade that is about to fall. This is more than just humiliation. Control is at issue here. This is about someone finding out about another person's saddest hour and using it as leverage to get money. The victim of blackmail has been making payments. Promises have been fulfilled. We've done favors. Since exposing would mean losing all that has been accumulated over years, dancing like a puppet on strings has become a norm. However, there is another element at play here that no one anticipated. Your awareness, your capacity to detect abnormalities. Most people can't even discern the frequencies that your intuition picks up. For some time now, you have been receiving hits on this matter. Little epiphanies, inexplicable unease around certain individuals, and nightmares that didn't make sense until now. Something significant is changing in the world of hidden things, which is why your spiritual radar has been pinging nonstop. And both sides are aware of it. The one who has the secret and the one who is using it as a weapon. You both feel that the truth is becoming nearer. It frightens them because they know that if you talk about it or bring it into the light, the whole game will fall apart. They both see your knowledge as a searchlight sweeping over darkness. The blackmailer's power is taken away. The control disappears. Strings are severed by the puppet itself. If you want to claim this message, you can show your support by paying a super thanks amount of up to $20 and typing 1111. Let me reveal the true identity of this blackmailer. The person in question is not a casual operator. Here, relationships are deep. Perhaps family members are law enforcement officers. Perhaps there are connections with individuals in legal systems. Perhaps an advantage is created by having access to information networks that ordinary people do not. This individual feels absolutely impenetrable regardless of reach. For years, many individuals have been playing the same game. Get close, earn someone's confidence, find flaws, and then mercilessly take advantage of them. This is the strategy's fatal shortcoming. Someone like you is unaccounted for. Someone with a totally different frequency of operation. Someone whose spiritual sense is unaffected by superficial displays. Someone who, even when everyone is lying, can sense the truth about a situation. Here, you're not only an observer. These folks are more than simply people you happen to know. You're a disturbance. The whole basis of this whole organization is in danger because of you. Not because you're trying, not because you're looking into it, digging, or being combative, but just because you don't believe lies, because you believe what you know instead of what you're told, or because your vibe doesn't go with lying. And people notice this. It is felt by both sides. Both the victim and the blackmailer are aware that you are the wild card that might cause everything to fall apart. You may not be aware of it yet, but you are now on radar. For the blackmailer, you represent competition, a danger to the years-long power structure, and someone who may reveal the game before it is completed. And you are both a source of horror and hope to the individual being blackmailed. I hope someone will be able to liberate me from this nightmare. Fear that you would criticize what was done. Let me now explain what is going to occur. Due to the fact that this circumstance is dynamic, it won't go on the way it has. There will soon be a significant change that will reveal everything. Not because you make it happen. Truth has its own timing. Not because you're attacking somebody. Because two closed secrets ultimately blow up in your face. Considering that divine justice never fails. There have been serious errors committed by this blackmailer. This guy who feels so untouchable. If you want to claim this message, you can show your support by paying a super thanks amount of up to $20 and typing 1111. Greed took control. Caution gave way to arrogance. Personal hype, it seems, became commonplace. Being many steps ahead of everyone else was assumed. All bases were thought to be covered. The idea was that links would always provide protection. However, spiritual law is indifferent to interpersonal relationships. Earthly authority systems are not respected by cosmic justice. Additionally, evidence is now being gathered behind the scenes. They are tracking down digital traces. They are recording patterns. Individuals who were previously afraid to speak are becoming braver, and everything is leading up to a revelation that will astound everyone who believed in understanding. This is what the majority of people don't know about blackmail. It only works as long as the secret remains a secret. The power balance totally shifts when exposure occurs, and everyone is aware of it. The blackmailer now has nothing left to threaten. The subject of control is suddenly free to express the truth. All of those other folks entangled in the web suddenly understand that they can go. And since the cosmos has perfect timing, that time is approaching sooner than anybody involved understands. Because your selected event is a part of a larger plan that is already in action, spiritual powers are arranging things that human brains cannot anticipate. Promote this video to assist other chosen ones in finding their way here if it speaks to your inner knowledge. You may believe that your sole role is observation. You may believe that you are just someone who happens to understand the dynamics, but you play a far more important role than that. The whole system is being disrupted by your knowledge alone. Your stubbornness to believe falsehoods is causing the foundation to erode. A frequency that reveals manipulation is being produced by your spiritual alignment. You don't need to act aggressively. You don't need to face anybody. You don't have to work as a whistleblower or an investigator. All you need to do is be true to yourself. Continue to follow your gut. When it's appropriate, continue to tell your truth. Even if others attempt to lure you into games, don't compromise your morals. Because each time you assume a position of genuine authority, you undermine the system of control that has imprisoned so many people. The person from your past who was exposed for their dishonor is now observing you with utter fear. It takes up mental energy to wonder if you already know. Your every word is examined for hidden implications. Constant paranoia is caused by the fear that you may reveal what transpired. And this guy is being careless because of that worry. Visible in previously avoided ways. Perhaps preemptive discrediting has already begun. Mutual connections may have received hints that you are erratic, theatrical, or prone to fabrication. This is the norm for those who are guilty. Water becomes muddy in advance when exposure seems inevitable. It casts doubt on the veracity of anybody who would criticize them. One event or one chat does not establish a reputation. Consistent conduct throughout time demonstrates your honesty. Those who know you well are aware of your character. There is knowledge about your level of trustworthiness. Furthermore, years of proven genuineness cannot be overshadowed by a guilty person's frantic spin. You are also being watched by the blackmailer. However, there are other reasons why people observe. You are seen as a danger to the established order. It is acknowledged that once you begin to express what you know or even feel, others may be inspired to do the same. The whole operation might collapse due to a cascading impact. Thus, planning is taking place. The present challenge is to figure out how to neutralize you without increasing visibility. There may be attempts at subtle manipulation. There may be attempts to get you to join the web by providing fake information or a phony relationship. You may be positioned as an ally who wishes to assist you in comprehending the reality. Avoid falling for that. You have too much discernment for these games. If someone is attempting manipulation, you will be alerted by your intuition. Have faith in that. Have faith in yourself. Your intuition tells you that something significant is amiss in this circumstance right now. You may not yet have all the information. You may be unsure of the specifics of what transpired or the roles of those involved, but you are certain that something is wrong. Secrets are being maintained, you know that. You have exact knowledge that manipulation is taking place. That feeling is genuine. That instinct is right. The individual with this secret has begun acting in ways that others find incomprehensible. Overreacting to trivial inquiries has become commonplace. It is common for people to get defensive when there is no allegation. It is common practice to steer clear of situations where certain individuals may be confronted. The same suspicion that is being avoided is being created by this action. In this instance, the concealment has grown so blatant that inquiries are beginning. Not outright yet, but in the nuanced manner in which someone says something that may be innocuous but carries more weight. When someone makes a seemingly innocuous yet test-like comment. When someone shares a narrative that is somewhat too similar to the current circumstance to be a coincidence. The exposure is just getting started. Truth comes to light in this way, not necessarily by means of a shocking discovery, occasionally via slow dawning, the steady deterioration of plausible deniability, or the growing amount of evidence that is no longer able to be disregarded or rationalized. It won't be a quiet, private revelation. So allow me to tell you what will happen when all is revealed. The noise level will be high. It will be open to the public. You will be unable to ignore it. The blackmailer will be apprehended. For the whole pattern, not just this particular instance. For years of abuse, for many victims, for financial crimes, and for deception on a scale that would astound everyone who believed they understood this individual. There will be evidence. Someone could discover a hard disk, perhaps financial documents that are leaked, perhaps testimonies from victims who at last have a voice, perhaps everything mentioned above strikes at once. It will be unquestionable in whatever form. It will be damaging and will ruin the reputation that this individual has worked so hard to establish. Followers will walk away. Relationships will drift apart. If you want to claim this message, you can show your support by paying a super thanks amount of up to $20 and typing 1111. Your reputation will be ruined forever, and everyone who is caught in the web, including the individual from your past who has been carrying this secret, will be set free at once. When that occurs, and the disclosure occurs, you will have an unanticipated feeling of relief rather than vindication at being proved correct or joy at seeing someone fail. Extremely relieved that the truth was revealed at last. Relief that the truth has finally surfaced and that individuals are at last free. You were relieved that your instincts were correct. When others attempted to make you question your viewpoint, it was a relief that you trusted yourself. Those who are chosen are not here to fit in. Comfortable falsehoods are not why you are here. You are not here to facilitate manipulation or defend crooked systems. You're come to cause trouble. You're here to reveal. Darkness has nowhere to hide when you flash light so brightly. You are thus a threat to everyone who benefits from dishonesty. This is the reason you have encountered resistance. That's why you've been singled out. This explains why many who don't even know you well have attempted to discredit, denigrate, or exclude you. Because you have something very right about you, not because you have something wrong. Your frequency is very high. You're too brilliant. Your reality is too obvious. People will see what you already know as this crisis develops, as the exposure occurs, and as justice arrives at the ideal moment. You'll realize that you were correct all along. You'll see that your intuition wasn't paranoid. You will come to the realization that your awareness was not judgmental. While others choose to turn their heads away, you are only seeing plainly. You will provide a compelling testimony. People will be inspired by your example. Your readiness to stand by yourself when needed will inspire others to have faith in their own judgment. And that effect, that knock-on effect, that makes every painful moment you've gone through to get here worthwhile. All of this began with an initial act that was more than a simple error. It was a decision based on a great deal of discontent. It began with feelings of neglect in a major connection. The injury was feeling invisible. The trigger was a sense that needs were unimportant. And seeking approval in areas that had repercussions became the answer rather than having open discussions about those emotions and dealing with the underlying issues. It was convinced to be innocuous. According to self-talk, it was meaningless. Just letting off steam and satisfying a desire once was how rationalization portrayed it. Once, however, it started to become a trend. A habit developed from a pattern. A habit turned into a way of life. And sloppiness occurred at some point throughout that process. They got captured. Everything changed when someone recognized an opportunity and took a picture, recorded it, or observed it. Since then, that person, that blackmailer, has been exploiting that proof, threatening to reveal it to certain individuals, not merely threatening to show it. Individuals whose viewpoints are important. People who would ruin relationships with their knowledge. Individuals whose exposure would destroy years of hard-won reputations, professions, or families. What makes such threats so potent is their specificity. It's not only widespread exposure that causes fear. The main source of fear is the discovery of extremely precise information by very specific persons. And every one of those individuals symbolizes a distinct kind of loss. Identity loss, social loss, relationship loss, and professional loss. Everything the victim values has been turned into a weapon by the blackmailer. In a chemical process, you're comparable to a catalyst. Processes that were always inevitable are accelerated by your presence. Things that were attempting to remain concealed come to light as a result of your awareness. Your sincerity creates contrast that highlights dishonesty. To get this impact, you don't need to act aggressively. All you need to do is live in your truth. And your presence in reality is now causing a great deal of upheaval in their realm. Thinking about what you know takes up mental resources. Analyzing previous talks in search of hints is a continuous process. It has become compulsive to keep an eye on your social media accounts for clues. It's common procedure to inquire about you from mutual contacts. The problem is really receiving more attention as a result of this compulsive surveillance, not less. Other individuals are becoming interested in it. The very kind of scrutiny that was intended to be avoided is being created by it. From a different perspective, the blackmailer is carrying out the same action. You are being evaluated to see if you're a resource that may be used for exploitation or a danger that needs to be eliminated. Determining if it is feasible to get you into the web requires strategic thought. Your vulnerability is always being sought. The objective is to find the secret that keeps you silent or cooperative. Your actions are not motivated by a concealed sense of shame. You've faced your own darkness and done the inside work. You've taken stock of your own shortcomings and accepted your humanity. You don't have secrets that allow someone else to control you. Even if you did, you wouldn't be as susceptible to dread as other people are. Having completed your spiritual job entails this. This is what it means to have reconciled with your own history. This is what it means to stand with genuine authority instead of phony bluster. You're not flawless. You are honest, but you never say so. You are responsible. Instead of covering up your errors, you are prepared to accept responsibility for them. This renders you impervious to the main tool in the blackmailer's toolbox. It is ineffective to threaten to reveal what you have already absorbed. It doesn't work to shame you for stuff you've already digested. It is difficult to use fear to control you until you have confronted and overcome your anxieties. You pose a serious risk to this operation because of this. Your release demonstrates to other victims what is possible on the other side of the truth, not because you are violent. Let me now introduce you to something genuine. The motor of destiny. I constructed this because I had had enough of seeing those who were selected suffer from assaults, treachery, and isolation while their adversaries walked free. I want to assist you in stepping fully into your destiny and accelerating the pace of your divine justice. The best part is that you don't even need to move. Destiny Engine turns their failure into your success. This isn't just another app for meditation. Declassified consciousness technology is what it is. The same mind programming techniques that your adversaries formerly used to create competitiveness, scarcity, and terror. Redesigned to match you with a cooperative, improved operational structure and reclaim your autonomy. It creates unique sequences that are aligned with your spiritual destiny. Putting on headphones, hitting play, and watching your opponents continue to dig their own graves is the hardest thing you will ever do. The group upgrade is in progress. Turn all they did to break you into fuel for your ascent by starting your Destiny Engine for only $1 now. The description contains a link. Small errors are being made at first, such as stating things that don't exactly match earlier declarations, referring to locations that were ostensibly off-limits, or having costs that aren't quite explicable. Even though nothing has been mentioned yet, people are beginning to notice the accumulation of these little contradictions. The extortionist has also observed. Aggression has also escalated rather than decreased. It has become commonplace to demand more. Threatening loudly is a typical occurrence. The reaction, which is typical of predatory behavior, is to tighten the hold. There is no release when the prey begins to flee. There is a harder bite. It becomes instinctive to tighten. The trend is to escalate the violence. However, escalation makes things visible. Aggression attracts notice. Furthermore, the duration of exposure is now being accelerated by all of this increased intensity. Now, things that could have taken a lot longer to emerge will do so sooner. Since neither side can continue the performance, what may have remained partly covered will now be fully exposed. There is too much tension. The terror is too much. There is too much pressure. And if you're listening, you can probably sense this. You can feel the tension rising. You sense that something is going to shatter. You may be experiencing revelation-related dreams. You may be seeing synchronicity and indications that the truth is coming to light. During quiet times or meditation, you may get downloads that explain precisely what has been concealed and why. Have faith in those downloads. Have faith in your gut feelings. Your spiritual awareness is not providing you with random information, therefore believe those dreams. The next event is being prepared for. In order to react wisely rather than in shock, assistance is being provided to comprehend the issue before it is made public. We're giving you advance warning so you can arrange yourself properly. Emotion has a role in that posture. You must not have an interest in redemption or demise. You must watch from a detached perspective, not icy apathy, but neutrality with a focus. The type of neutral that lets you see clearly without being influenced by your own feelings about a certain result. There is an energy component to that posture. You must maintain a high frequency. Maintain a clean vibration. Avoid getting caught up in the drama. Refrain from allowing turmoil to drag you down. Despite everything around you changing and trembling, stay in spiritual balance. There is some practicality to its placement. You must ensure that your personal life is in order. You must have strong connections of your own. You must handle your own money. You must maintain a spotless reputation, because efforts may be made to induce confusion by directing charges in different ways when this blows up and the exposure occurs. You want to be so firmly planted that nothing can topple you. In some way, the blackmailer may attempt to incriminate you. There may be accusations that you were engaged in activities that you weren't. It's possible that false narratives may be produced that portray you as contributing to the issue. This is the act of desperation. When predators sense that they are about to be captured, they act in this manner. The last tactic is to try to bring others down with them. But if you have maintained your integrity, such efforts will be unsuccessful. If you have been living in the truth, you will undoubtedly fail. If your activities can be scrutinized, you will undoubtedly fail. Furthermore, you have nothing to be concerned about because of your knowledge, spiritual growth, and dedication to honesty. You have a strong base. Your truth is pure. You have a clean conscience. Because the victim kept secrets, some people will be angry with them. For exploitation, some individuals would vent their anger on the blackmailer. Some will be upset with themselves for failing to see what was going on. The atmosphere will be spinning with all of that rage, searching for a place to land. Avoid letting it fall on you. Avoid taking in other people's emotional reactions. Don't feel bad about not revealing anything you didn't have solid proof of. Don't feel guilty about not saving someone who didn't ask for your assistance. The only decisions you have control over are your own. The only secrets you are responsible for are your own. You have no obligation to improve anybody else's circumstances beyond your own. Being a constant presence is what you can do in the aftermath. Be a person who isn't crumbling. Be a person who isn't overwhelmed by drama. People will need someone to keep them centered throughout the pandemonium, so be that person. It will be important to realize that you can handle stressful conditions without losing yourself. In order to demonstrate emotional maturity, examples will be required. Some of those folks will approach you with inquiries. How did you maintain your composure? How did you realize that something wasn't right? How can one cultivate such intuition? This is where you start teaching. This is your chance to impart your knowledge. This is your chance to assist others in developing the same abilities you have been honing. The scandal will not be the subject of your testimony. Who did what to whom won't be the topic of discussion. It will focus on how you improved your judgment, learned to trust yourself, remain true to yourself under duress, and refuse to play games that did not benefit you the most. That's a useful testimony. That instruction is required. It is worthwhile to share that knowledge. You will create something lovely as you spread it, assist others in discovering their own spiritual sense, and lead them to their own true potential. You're going to build a society based on the truth rather than lies. Instead of manipulating others, you will cultivate relationships based on genuineness. You're going to show that exploitation is not necessary to have authority. This is how your involvement in this circumstance will affect things in the long run. You have to see it for this reason. You have to traverse it because of this. You have to maintain your integrity throughout it because of this. In order for you to serve as an example for others, in order to demonstrate what is feasible, in order for others to follow your example and achieve their own freedom, like light that reveals shadows and truth that discomfits falsehoods, your spiritual frequency has been operating as a cleansing force. Attempting to achieve this effect is not necessary. You don't need to put forth any effort. There is nothing that can disprove your intuition, perception, or spiritual senses if you really know deep down that they're trustworthy. No amount of deceit, manipulation, or gaslighting can undermine your integrity. It is tested, confirmed, and demonstrated inner understanding that makes you unshakable, not pride. The circumstances are giving you this. In the midst of the turmoil, this is the gift. The trial's hidden gem is this. You are developing a degree of self-confidence that most individuals never achieve. You are cultivating discernment, which is something that most people never do. Most individuals never develop the spiritual assurance that you are. And you will be unstoppable once you emerge from this circumstance with that degree of self-rust, that depth of insight, and that power of spiritual assurance. Not because you are powerful, aggressive, or domineering, but rather because you are in agreement, clear, and acting out of truth rather than fear. People will sense it about you. There will be recognition. Since genuine power is magnetic, attraction will happen even if identifying it is challenging. Genuine assurance is captivating. Pull comes from true clarity. Additionally, you will experience all three at levels that will change you from someone who is just scraping by to someone who is really flourishing. The main distinction between those who ascend and those who fail is this. Not holiness versus immorality, not perfection versus imperfection, but the decision to either develop from adversity or retreat from it, to confront reality or avoid it, to advance toward or away from truth. You made the decision to develop. You made the decision to confront. You choose to go in the direction of truth. Because of this, you will come out of this circumstance stronger, more lucid, and more capable than when you started, whereas others will come out weakened, harmed, and exposed. These are the inevitable results of the decisions each side made, not because the cosmos is punishing them and rewarding you. Here is what you should know about the exposure moment when it occurs. Perhaps it won't be as dramatic as you anticipate. It may not be the shocking discovery you had been hoping for. It may be silent. It might be easy. One person's honest statement might be all it takes to stop others from continuing to act how they're acting. Or it might be just as dramatic as you would have thought. It may be difficult to ignore since it is noisy, untidy, and public. It may be the type of publicity that breaks the internet, makes headlines, or becomes the only topic of conversation for a time. Your reaction should be the same in either case. Clear, focused, and grounded. It is not about you or your vindication, nor is it about reveling in failure or glorying over publicity. Simply admitting in silence that truth always comes to light. As justice always comes, that justice did too. There are repercussions because there are always consequences. Because you comprehend this when others do not. This is not a personal matter. This has to do with values. Retaliation is not the point of this. This has to do with equilibrium. There are no winners or losers here. This is about truth versus lies, and how truth will eventually triumph over lies. You may succeed without causing pain to others. Devastation is not necessary for you to flourish. Your ascent does not need your demise. Your altitude is not affected by your fall. Failure and success are not the same thing. Breakdown does not lead to your breakthrough. Because you are not driven by the same things that drive others. This knowledge contributes to your danger to those who operate in the dark. The games being played are not yours. The venue where competition takes place is not where you are competing. You are functioning from a whole different framework, a very different set of values, and a completely different conception of what power is. Controlling other people is not true power. Sovereignty over oneself is true power. Manipulation of circumstances does not constitute real power. Alignment with truth is the source of true power. Fear-based dominance is not true power. Influence through genuineness is what true power is. You also possess actual power. You have been constructing it. You've been working on it. By making every decision to maintain your integrity, you have been growing it. Via each choice to have faith in oneself. Real power is shown by every dedication to the truth, even when telling falsehoods was simpler. That's power that lasts. Nothing and no one could take away that type of power from you. The blackmailer believed in power. However, leverage was present. Use fear as leverage. Use leverage that is reliant on secrets. Leverage that vanishes as soon as the secret is revealed. That isn't true power. It's an illusion. The house of cards is that. The sandcastle is awaiting the tide. The tide is also approaching. The publicity is on the way. It will be revealed soon. And when it happens, the power illusion will vanish as if it never been. In the meanwhile, your true power, your genuine power, and your truth-based power will endure, persist, and get stronger. Because you're not doing this for yourself. You should continue to stand in it, to grow it, to develop it, to choose truth, to believe yourself, and to uphold your integrity. You are doing this for the benefit of everyone who is watching, learning, and needs to know that there is another option. More than ever, the world will need individuals like you. There will be an urgent need for those who can lead others back to the truth as long as outdated control structures fall apart. Deceit is revealed at all societal levels, and manipulation is more difficult to conceal. Integrity modeling individuals. People who can demonstrate that it is possible to be strong without acting predatorily. People who can show that exploitation is not necessary for success. You are that. It's your task. You have gone through this preparation for that reason, and everything you're going to see in the near future will reaffirm that you are just where you should be. The individual from your past will have to face the consequences. The blackmailer will be defeated, and you will advance to the next level of effect and influence. The whole procedure is being disrupted by your awareness alone. Just your honesty is revealing dishonesty. Structures are collapsing because you won't play games by yourself. There is nothing you need to do except keep being who you are. The remainder is already underway. The publicity is already certain. Justice is already en route. And you will stand there knowing that you never compromised, that you never sold out, and that you never deceived yourself. For you, that chosen one is the true triumph after all is said and done. What matters is knowing that you stood, not seeing others fall. That's what endures. That's what really makes you unstoppable.